Good evening, and welcome to another read through of a story from the Complete Griselda by Oliver Dickinson. Um, this tonight's story will be Hanufa's Little Sister, which is the seventh story in the collection. And this was published in White Dwarf 43 in 1983. So, another story, more tea, a waistcoat, and I can't promise it, but there might be intervention by a cat. Hanufa's Little Sister. Now this doll Hanufa stands tall enough to look a troll in the eye, and she's strong enough to give a troll a tough time at arm wrestling, but she's also dumb enough to consider arm wrestling a troll, and this just about sums her up. It is conceded that she has enough brains to come out of the rain, but in fact many are wishing that she will stay there, for it does not seem that she will get a wash any other way. It is a sure thing that when she hits town, she still has on her the dust from the first day of her trip, and this is by no means the lowest layer. And what looks like dirty old fur hanging down her back turns out to be her hair. Now it's not unknown for characters to hit Pavis in this state, but if they have any dough, they will normally get cleaned up and buy new clothes and such. But although Hanufa is not that short of dough, she prefers to spend it on beer, and doesn't seem to give a cuss what anyone thinks of appearance or aroma. She favours loud Lilinas for her drinking, and she may be affecting Lilina's trade, for she likes gabbing and will horn in on any conversation going, which tends to drive the sensitive away. But Lena never bars her, and the chances are this is because Hanufa drinks enough to make up for any loss of trade she is causing. The regulars in Lilina's are unwilling to consider positive action after Hanufa demolishes some guy who cracks at her who makes a crack at her with a very nice body punch. But it's agreed that the way she is going, she will soon be broke, which will solve the problem. Now, you may figure that after Griselda stops her asking questions about her chart, Hanufa will pay the chill for her. But instead, she's always hanging around when Griselda is in Lilina's. Well, Griselda keeps herself pretty clean, and it's believed that she likes those about her to do likewise. And anyone but Hanufa can see that she finds Hanufa's presence distasteful. So, one and all are awaiting events with great interest. For Griselda can be very brusque when she is irritated, and it's hoped that either she will provoke Hanufa into taking a swing at her, in which case it is goodbye Hanufa, or she will frighten her off, and some betting develops on the outcome. Griselda does not let fly at once, but first drops little hints, like sniffing or commenting on the funny smell in here today, which all goes over Hanufa's head. So, finally, Griselda speaks sharply to Hanufa like this. Do you fall in something outside, or what? There is a smell off you that is killing the flies. Well, we all expect Hanufa to get really mad, but she only goes very red and walks off fast. Everyone is starting in to call Griselda a public benefactor, but she looks at us very coldly, and so we turn away and begin to speak of other things, for it is plain that she does not want the matter discussed. She goes on sitting there without saying a word for some time, and is all very strange. But even stranger is that Hanufa eventually comes back, and she looks so different that many of Lilina's regulars think there must be something in the beer, for all the dirt is cleaned off, and she's wearing new clothes, and her hair turns out to be a nice pale yellow colour. And while she's not beautiful, still, you cannot say she is a crow. Griselda smiles at her and offers her a drink, and thereafter Hanufa keeps herself reasonably clean. She goes about with Griselda quite a bit, and Griselda seems to like her about as much as she likes anybody. While Hanufa seems to think Griselda is the greatest thing since the Red Goddess. Anyone can see this must be pleasant for Griselda, but it's hard to figure Hanufa's angle. So one day I ask her what she sees in Griselda. Why, says Hanufa. This is a strange question indeed. Do you not think Griselda is an admirable person? Well, I know that anything I say may get back to Griselda, so I simply suggest that she frightens most people. Oh, she frightens me at first, says Hanufa. Not anymore. In fact, she reminds me of my little sister. I never hear before that Hanufa has a sister, so I ask her about it. But I do not find out much, for it seems that this sister is here and there and around and about, and that Hanufa does not see her in quite a while. And since I figured it's a sure thing that no sister of Hanufa's will match Griselda, Oh, forget all about it. Now one day Hanufa is getting a letter, and this bothers her, for she has no hand at reading, but Griselda takes it to the professional letter writers and finds someone to read it to her. The letter is from Hanufa's sister, and it says she's come to Pavis with the next caravan to see her. This reminds me of what Hanufa says, and I pass it around. So there's a fair crowd waiting to see Hanufa's sister, and even Wolfhead is there along with Griselda. This sister surely matches Griselda in size and looks, for he's about as half Hanufa's size, but 10 times as pretty, though you cannot see a lot more of her shape than of Griselda's. For she is wearing something thin and, though you can see a lot more of her shape than of Griselda's, for she is wearing something thin and clinging that looks impractical to be travelling in. But in other aspects, it's hard to see how even Hanufa can figure out her to be like Griselda, for she comes on all dumb and fluttery. She practically falls off a donkey into Hanufa's arms and says like this in a high squeaky voice, "My dear Hanufa, what a dreadfully out-of-the-way place you choose to frequent. I endure 1,000 tortures getting here, and I'm sure my looks are ruined forever. Now tell me, who are all these exciting-looking people?" Excuse the naught voice, but you know. Well, you can practically hear Griselda's lip curl, and she tells the sister hello very gruffly when Hanufa introduces them. The sister opens her eyes wide and says how interesting it is to meet a real adventuress, in a tone which suggests Griselda is some kind of freak. But she behaves very different with the men, saying how pleased she is to meet them, and batting her eyelashes and giving one and all the old come hither, even me. She certainly has plenty of technique in that direction, and when she turns it on Wolfhead, he seems to reel. Before we know what, he is squiring her into one of the best-class grog shops and dusting off a seat for her, and listening with great interest to everything she has to say. And in fact, he seems to fall for her very heavily indeed, although ordinarily he seems to want no part of dolls. Wolfhead makes it clear that he wishes no company except Hanufa, for he can hardly turn her away, so nobody gets a chance to see much more of Hanufa's sister for a while. Well, Wolfhead and Hanufa's sister, who turns out to be Felissa, see the town that night, and also the following night, and by the third night, those who glimpse them say that Wolfhead looks to be feeling the strain. For this Felissa may act as if a puff of wind will blow her away, but she has plenty of stamina when it comes to seeing the town. So there is little surprise when Wolfhead shows up in Lena's the next evening, saying that Felissa is a great dog, but too expensive for him. "My dog goes so fast, but I cannot keep track of it," he says. "Never mind, Wolfie," says Griselda, who is shooting craps with two of his gang in the corner. "Come and join us. At least you'll know where your money is going." And as Wolfhead is very fond of craps, he does so, and the game is going good when in comes Hanufa and Felissa. "Why, there you are, Wolfie," cries Felissa with great glee. "What is this you're doing?" Wolfhead does not look too pleased to be interrupted, but he explains politely enough that it is a game of chance and invites her to watch. She does this, with many cries of excitement, while Hanufa gabs with the other citizens, being no gambler. Presently, Felissa says that this game seems quite easy, and she has a little money, and can she join in? Wolfhead brightens up at this, as if he hopes to retrieve some of his investment in her. And Griselda also seems interested. Felissa starts in making some foolish bets, and when she gets the dice, she craps out at once. And she's certainly not having beginner's luck. By the time the dice throw come round to her again, her stack is quite low. But she hits with a natural right-off, which makes the others a bit more cautious about hoping to clean her out. She then makes several points before she loses, and thereafter she's betting much better. And the game heats up, but Hanufa does not seem interested, and she goes off to bed. It seems like Felissa and Griselda are going for each other, and between them, Wolfhead and the rest are just naturally get cleaned out. So finally, it is only the two of them, though much interest is shown in side bets, and neither can gain advantage for long. For whatever one wins, the other soon hauls right back. Now the Griselda keeps looking at Felissa in a strange way, and suddenly she jumps up, whipping out a sword, and cries, "I know you! You're Frissy the Dip, and if I'm any judge, these tops these are tops you ring in on us." But Felissa hardly bats an eyelid. She just looks Griselda straight in the eye and says, "Then how come you win as often as I do? Sure, I use tops sometimes, but only with suckers, not with a little pro like you, Griselda. It is all the luck." And suddenly we realise that long ago she drops her foolish style of talking. Now she sounds a real cool hand. Griselda seems somewhat nonplussed, but she points a sword at Felicia and says, "Maybe you're not using tops, but I reckon I know why wolfheads don't go so fast." Felicia just smiles sweetly and spreads her hands and says, "A girl has to eat, and he gets his money's worth, does he not?" Just for a moment there's silence. And then Griselda starts in to laugh so much she almost falls over, and everyone joins in, even Wolfhead. Finally Griselda gasped, "Well, at least you can buy us drinks after taking advantage like this, especially of poor Wolfie." "It will be a privilege," says Felicia. "Let's go down to Rowdy Jolo's and make a night of it." Now, this is one of the toughest joints in town, and this idea does not appeal to anyone except Wolfhead. So off they go. Off the three go, arm in arm. I ran into Hanufa on her own the following day, and I say that now I understand why she thinks Griselda is like her sister. "Well, now I see them together, I realise they're not so alike," says Hanufa. "I'm glad they hit it off finally, though I'm a little surprised, as my sister does not usually make friends when she plays dice, because she plays so well. I worry that she's out all night, as she's not strong. But now I know that she is in good hands." Just then Wolfhead happens by, looking all tuckered out, and he gazes after Hanufa as she departs and shakes his head. "I hear she is the dumbest adventurer doll in Dragon Pass," he says. "It looks like she aims to take in Pavis too. It's just as well, for if she is like her sister, we may as well retire, what with Griselda too. The last I see of them, they were playing multi-peck with Snakefang and his crew. If I'm any judge, skinning them alive." Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. There will be another story next time, which will be Down Among the Dead Men. Okay, good night. Oh, and as I promised, cats. Turn you around. What have we got? Cats. That is Kitler. He's not going to say good night. I am.